Hi there, Izzy from DigitalGoja.com showrooms. Today we're going to take a look at the most popular question asked about the Olympus EM10 Mark II. This camera came out last year and it's been a really big hit for the mirrorless market. So what I did is I scoured the internets. I went to Amazon, eBay, DigitalGoja.com's website, checked all the most popular questions that are asked about this camera. So basically what we're going to do is try to find out what the consumer needs to know to get this guy going and how to work with it. Now, if this video is going to be helpful to you, always remember to hit me up with a like button underneath and subscribe to the channel for future tutorials and questions and answer sessions like this. Plus, if you have any questions or comments of your own, remember to place them underneath. Now, without further delay, let's take a look at what the consumers are asking about the Olympus EM10 Mark II. Does the new Olympus OMD EM10 Mark II have Wi-Fi? Yes, that's one of the new features they added to this current model. Go into your menu and scroll down to the little wrench, and there you have your different settings. So you can go into your Wi-Fi settings and you can set it up. They made it really simple. You can download an application on the app stores that are on the market for Android and iOS, and that way you can control the camera wirelessly, and also you can send all your information wirelessly to your tablet or smartphone or even your PC. So that way you can transfer your data and your images and your videos directly onto a smart device or a PC. How many scene settings does the Olympus OMD EM10 Mark II have? Tons. Honestly, you can go in here and notice for any kind of shooting situation: landscape, portrait, landscape, you have e-portrait, regular portrait, you even have a panning mode, 3D. So if you have some of the lenses that are made for 3D imaging out on the market, you can do so. You can set it up for macro with some of the beautiful macro lenses that are available. You have a wide angle setting if you want to do extreme wide angle shooting. You even have a fisheye effect, beach and snow, you name it. Any kind of shooting situation you have a setting for. So Olympus did a really great job when it came to having the camera set up a perfect scene mode depending on whatever shooting environment you're going to be in. Does the Olympus OMD EM10 Mark II have manual focus? Well, yes, it does. It even has ways to help you in your focusing. If you choose to be a photographer that prefers to do your focusing manually, you absolutely have that capability. I'll show you. You go into the menu and go into your AF and focusing mode and click on manual focus, and then switch over. You have peaking, which a lot of us like because it does that glittery, shiny effect that lets you know what is in focus and what isn't. I myself prefer, because, well, I also have really old eyes, so I prefer going into the magnify. And this is awesome because this now allows you to magnify the image, and notice how I can keep an eye on what is in focus and what isn't. So it's a really great feature when you want to make sure that your subject is in proper focus and you want to do the focusing yourself. So Olympus did a great job for us manual people. Can I use Lumix Lenses on my Olympus OMD EM10 Mark II? Well, absolutely. It's still part of the Micro Four Thirds consortium, and Lumix has many different lenses available out there that you can use on this camera. Here I happen to have one of my favorite. It's the little pancake 12 to 32 millimeter zoom. And the beauty of it is that this mount is meant for it. So you line it up, click it in place, And if you choose to, you can set your camera on full auto and everything works perfectly on it. You have your autofocus, you have your exposure, everything is done for you. So again, this is a fully working lens made specifically for the Micro Four Thirds. So if you have a favorite Lumix lens that you would like to use on an Olympus, absolutely you can choose to. Does the Olympus OMD EM10 Mark II have built-in stabilization? Yes, that's yet another feature that they perfected on the Mark II. You now have 5-axis stabilization, just like some of its bigger brothers. So you can go into the menu, and you're going to go into the C menu portion and scroll down to where it says Image Stabilizer, and move in there, and you can see that you have different types of settings depending on whether you're doing stills or if you're doing movie mode. You can control it to have it which way you want to do it. So you can actually activate it to auto so that it chooses the stabilization system by itself, or you can have horizontal only stabilization and hold the camera vertically. So they really thought of everything. And of course you can go back out and also choose it for your video mode. So all in all, they did a fantastic job, because remember, now any lens that you use on this camera will have the 5-axis image stabilization. That's a nice plus. Can I work with Canon lenses on my Olympus EM10 Mark II? Well, yes you can. You have to face it, there are some of us out there that have been using DSLRs for a long time. Here's a perfect example. This is one of my favorite macro lenses from my Canon line. It's the EFS 60mm macro. I've had really good results with this lens, and at this moment I don't own a macro lens for my mirrorless. So guess what? You can get one of these guys out there on the market. There's many of them. This one happens to be one that I picked up at Digital Goja. Very economical. It's basically just a mount that's going to allow you to now place Canon lenses on your mirrorless. It attaches to the camera as if I was mounting a lens, lock it in place, and now I'm going to mount my Canon lens right on here as if this was a Canon camera. Line it up, twist, click it in place. Very important. Now you have to switch to manual focus. There is no automation on here. And when you turn on your camera, you really have to shoot on manual, because now you have to be able to set the exposure. The camera has no electronic connection. So as you can see, I can focus, bring it into focus and set the exposure. But I'm setting the exposure manually here, so there's no way to really see what the exposure is going to be until basically I shoot and look at it. So this is all done by either walking around with a handheld meter or looking at your exposure after you take it. And again, there's no way to set the f-stop on this lens, so it's always going to shoot at 2.8. It's going to shoot at the maximum aperture. So you now have a very fast macro lens, and you're going to do your compensation by setting the appropriate shutter speed and changing your ISO. So it is a way to use some of the lenses that you already pre-own in the Canon lineup, but again, not really the best way to work with this camera, because it now also throws off the balance, because this is quite heavy compared to the lenses that are made exclusively for the mirrorless lineup. Does the Olympus OMD EM10 Mark II have a built-in flash? Yes, it does. It has a nice small unit right on top here. Pop it up, and then when you need it, fires off. Nice range, about 3 meters. It does a really good job. But you also have the alternative to be able to use either their popular flashes, like for example the FL600ER, for example the FL600R, which has wireless capability built in to work with your built-in strobe, or you can use manual flashes like the Altura Universal. because you do have a standard hot shoe connection right on top. Now, of course, to be able to get the TTL capability, you have to have a TTL flash, like again, the FL600R. But if you're comfortable with manual photography, like a lot of us are, you can work with a fully mechanical strobe. And again, being a fully universal hot shoe, you can just place it on there and then set your flash sync and work directly with this. It's kind of large because of course this is meant for the standard DSLRs that are out there on the market, not for the mirrorless design. So it's kind of bulky. So I myself would prefer working with maybe a smaller flash unit. Something like this will do the job. It all depends on what you want to carry with you. But they did a great job by giving you the built-in strobe. Then again, in most shooting situations, this guy is going to do the job for you. What mode should I put my Olympus OMD EM10 Mark II if I'm going to take shots of my children at a skating rink? Well, some of us old-timers prefer setting it to S, which is shutter priority, and this way you can pick the shutter speed yourself. So notice I can go in here and go all the way up to 1/4000th of a second, which will stop any moving subject matter. But if you're not comfortable with that, you do have the scene selection, and when you set it to scene, now go into your menu, and you have many different ones to choose one. I would choose the sports mode because this is where the camera now does the fastest focusing. Plus you also have the continuous shooting mode, so you can shoot up to 8.5 frames per second. So honestly, if you're not comfortable with doing your own settings, I would go into the scene mode and set it to sports mode. Does the electronic viewfinder for the Olympus OMD EM10 Mark II work well in harsh and sunlight conditions? Of course, they gave you a bright, huge 3-inch LCD screen, but this guy here is incredible. It's a 2.36 million dot OLED electronic viewfinder. What does that mean? That means that this is incredibly bright. It gives you a 99% field of vision. It works in any kind of environment, whether you're outdoors on a bright sunny day or in a bright harsh environment in a studio. Any kind of shooting situation, this guy is set up so that you can see nice, clear, bright images for your videos and your stills. Is the Olympus OMD EM10 Mark II just for hipsters? No, not anymore. I mean, it does have a nice retro design, but the beauty of it is, look at this next to my full frame 5D Mark III. I mean, this guy does a great job, but a lot of times when I want to go and do some street photography and I'm not interested in carrying a ton of equipment, I mean, this is considerably heavier and larger than this guy. And again, with the series of lenses that are available in the micro four thirds market, you have all the Olympus, you have the Panasonic, and you have a lot of lenses from third parties also. You could do a lot with this, and it's easier to carry. Plus, of course, it does look rather nice because it does have that retro look. But, you know, I mean, a lot of people that are working with this design are also working with this now. Can I work with some of the older film lenses that are out on the market on the Olympus OMD EM10 Mark II? Absolutely, but you have to use an adapter. Here's one that I found through Digital Goja. This is meant to work with the older AI lenses from Nikon. And the reason I prefer this is because now, of course, you're going to adapt this right onto the camera. And now you have the capability of mounting a nice vintage E-series 28mm. Now this guy adapts on here like if this was the body, and then I have a flange here that I can activate, so when I go into full manual now, I can actually control my f-stop, because here I can change the aperture to allow more or less light. which is something that you can't do with some of the automatic lenses that are out there on the market. Of course, you have to do everything full manual, so you have to set your shutter speed and your f-stop. But guess what? Now I can actually take an image and control the exposure the way I want, because I have full control here over my shutter speed and my aperture, so I can actually compensate for the way I want to take the image. So this is a great added benefit to being able to work with the Micro Four Thirds market. It's an open market, so they have a lot of different adapters out there. You can work with some of these nice old legacy lenses and you'll be able to get incredible imaging done. Can I use my Olympus OMD EM10 Mark II for professional videos? Absolutely. They did a really good job here. If you go into your menu, go into your movie settings, and you notice that you have full control. You can change the way you want to shoot, whether you want full manual or automatic. You have your volume, so you can turn it on or off. You have your settings for your recording volume. You have a limiter, wind noise reduction, even time code settings. So they gave you a lot of options when it comes to creating videos on the new OMD EM10 Mark II. The only thing that was left out is Olympus did not give you the capabilities of adapting a microphone like a standard microphone, but they do have one that attaches on the top. They have a couple of different proprietary microphones that you can work with, but it doesn't work with the standard AV microphone input on the side.